Hello, everyone. It is time. We are previewing the Stanley Cup Finals today here on FL Teams. Remember, FLTeams.com is your go to one stop shop for all Florida sports coverage. And FL Teams is happy to have a heck of a Florida team in the Stanley Cup Finals. That is the Tampa Bay Lightning as they face the Colorado Avalanche. Yes, it's that time, Jeff. For the third year in a row, you are seeing your Tampa Bay Lightning in the Stanley Cup as they go for a three-peat. Jeff, how are you doing today? And are you ready to see the Lightning participate in their third straight Stanley Cup, but this time against Colorado?
I'm super. I'm chomping at the bit, man. I need this game to happen. I'm ready. My adrenaline's been up. The Lightning won Game 6 against the Rangers. I don't know when the game ended, 11 p.m. or something. I was up till 5 a.m. I couldn't sleep. you know, uh, Winning doesn't get old is one thing I found out. You'd think winning two straight Stanley Cups, the going to the going to the Stanley Cup for the third time, you'd think it's old hat. No, it's not. This is
Yep.
an old hat. Winning, that's evergreen, man. That's
Yeah,
keeps on. It's a gift that keeps on giving. I'm I'm
exactly.
I'm I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sure you are, and I'm sure any Lightning fan is ready to go. Now, one thing that is scary is the fact that the Colorado Avalanche are coming off a 4-0 sweep over the Edmonton Oilers with Connor McDavid and their top offense. But hey, Edmonton has a top offense themselves. Um, but then Colorado does. So look, Colorado did not lose a game in their Western Conference Finals. Tampa did, but they still beat out the Rangers in 6 games. So with that said, here are these two teams, Tampa Bay and Colorado, facing off against each other. Look, these two teams were amazing in the regular season, but this is not even, arguable. Colorado was better in the regular season, defensively, offensively. But when we talk about defensively, and I know, Jeff, you wanted me to bring this up, Cal McCarr and Victor Hedman facing off against each other. Two top defensemen. It's actually the first time since the 2001 Cup Finals where two Norris Trophy finalists are facing off against each other. And look, this is going to be a heck of a matchup, not just because these two teams are very close in terms of depth and skill, but simply because these two teams don't face off against each other that often. Now, yes, that's every Stanley Cup, right? Because you have an Eastern Conference team and a Western Conference team. But the Lightning don't know much about the Avalanche. The Avalanche don't know that much about the Lightning. So it's going to be an interesting series. Andrei Vasilevsky likely going up against goaltender Darcy Kemper. We'll talk about that, Jeff, because obviously there could be a goalie controversy, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. An injury came about last round, but again, the Avalanche are still able to sweep. So we're looking at this on paper, Jeff. What do you think's going to happen? Don't give me your prediction yet for this series, but just tell me how these teams will face off against each other.
Well, I'll start by saying this. The Florida Panthers were better in the regular season than every team, and you saw how they were dispatched in 4 games by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Also, the Lightning. This is an interesting factor. The Lightning lost the first 2 games against the Rangers. Both teams have won their last 4 games, if you want to look at it that way. The Avalanche just have a lot more rest. Um, the Lightning, though, I don't think there's any doubt. There's a combination of factors that go. There was a very long rust versus rest debate that went into the Lightning Rangers series, and there's no doubt anyone with eyes could see the Lightning didn't weren't there in Game 1, and even Game 2 they were a little shaky. Game 3, 4, 5, 6. The Rangers looked like they maybe lost their legs a little bit, especially the last couple games from fatigue. So there's the rust first rest. The rust is going to hit you in the beginning of the series. The rest is going to hit you at the end. I don't know that stands with this series because the Lightning are not an exhausted or fatigued team. They won 7 games against Toronto, yes, but they only went 4 against the Panthers, 6 against the Rangers, but they've had 3 days off before this series. Plus, the last 2 years they've done the fatigue thing and they've handled themselves just fine. Although I will say I think that does affect them in the regular season. I think the Lightning, after winning the President's Trophy and getting swept in the first round by an 8 seed a few years back, I think the Lightning kind of have a healthy relationship with regular season hockey, which is just win enough to get into the playoffs. Don't worry about winning the whole league in the regular season because we win it in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I do think, my first thought, and I'll shout out the Cranky fan who did Bolts and Bats in the Bay with me. My first thought coming into the series is Lightning need to win game 1 because at the Avalanche, if you talk about rust, they should be as rusty as they get. However, he did bring up a good point that, Denver's a mile-high city and altitude can cause some breathing distress or, harder to catch your breath. So that might be an equalizer. I don't know. So I'm intrigued. Obviously the Lightning have shown they don't need to win the first 2 games to win the series. But I do think, given these circumstances, I think winning one of the 2 would be ideal. Also, here's the thing. The Avalanche won a lot of high-scoring games. The Western Conference was kind of a goalies be damned. We're just going to throw the puck into the back of the net. Lightning just came through a series with the best goalie in the world playing against, the goalie who had the best season and has a great hair. With Vasilevsky versus Shesterkin. The Lightning love to win in the playoffs these 2-0, 2-1 games. That's their bread and butter. They know how to shut it down defensively. But I do think sometimes the casual fan forgets the Lightning can put up goals at a high rate if they need to. And Braden Point, now I was convinced Braden Point was going to be playing game 1. Until today, a lot of Lightning players are kind of throwing Braden Point's return out there, which makes me almost think maybe he actually won't be coming back because hockey with injuries is nobody tells the truth. It's like politics. It's all lies and smoke screens. And, if you read the right direction, you're probably wrong. If you think you're right, you're probably wrong. So I don't know. I think Braden Point's going to play this series. Whether he's Braden Point, healthy Braden Point, is another question. That obviously, I do think the Lightning will need to score more than they did against the they basically needed to score 1 goal a game to beat the Panthers, but they'll have to score more than they did in that series. They'll have to score more than they did in the Rangers series, and definitely more than the first line scoring, 90% of the goals, Stamkos, Kucherov, and Palat. So Braden Point coming back is a huge boost potentially. And I do love that you brought up, that it's crazy that more than 20 years since 2 Norris finalists have faced each other in the Stanley Cup. That's crazy to me because I don't know, maybe I'm biased from the last couple of years watching Victor Hedman, but I feel like the Norris Trophy finalists team should always be in the final 2 or at least the final 4. So that's an interesting little subplot as well.
Yeah, definitely, Jeff. And I'm just going to put a few little facts out there. Not that this matters because this is a playoff game. This is, in fact, the Stanley Cup Finals game. So the atmosphere is different. Literally everything's different, especially the competition. The Lightning are 5-1 in the last 6 meetings in Colorado, which is interesting. 5-1 on the road in Colorado. That I just wanted to bring up because it's interesting. Even though the Lightning are such a talented team, it's kind of hard to win on the road anywhere in the NHL, especially 5-1 in the last 6 meetings. That's pretty good. Obviously, the Avalanche are favored, especially they have home ice. But let me tell you something about the Lightning. They're one of the teams that really are not underdogs, even though the betting odds say they're underdogs, right? The Lightning are not favored to win the series based on betting purposes. But by no means are they underdogs, and you can't say the Lightning upset the Avalanche. Really, there's no upsets in this series. Whoever wins, wins.
How silly is it? The Lightning have been underdogs by betting standards in every series they've played this year. This is the team that won the last 2 Stanley Cups.
Exactly.
What kind of idiot, obviously large amounts of idiots, bet money against them? I
Exactly.
just I don't get it. I love it, and I you know what, I do get this. I get that and I poke a lot of fun. I've made fun of the Panthers, which, sorry, Isaac, I know that's your team, but but I do get that every other hockey fan in the world that is not a Lightning fan hates the Lightning, and I get it. You don't want to see the same team win
Yeah.
over and
They
over
hate,
and
they
over
hate all the
again.
teams that win. Patriots,
Yeah, I,
Steelers,
I
Celtics.
I hated Michael Jordan's Bulls back in the day when I was a kid. I was rooting for the Magic. You know,
Yeah.
it happens, but I get it, and I don't care because I'm rooting for the team that's winning and I'm enjoying it. But it is funny to me. It's like, why would people actually bet their money against a team that's shown
Yeah.
we're the best
Exactly.
constantly?
Yeah. Look, and I hope you can continue enjoying the Lightning win, because both of these teams have such talented rosters. Obviously, if you look at it on the Avs side, Nathan McKinnon is their star player. You also got Mikko Rantanen, like we said, Darcy Kemper in net. He's been terrific this season. And then you look at it at the Lightning side, right? Obviously, Nikita Kucherov, Steven Stamkos, Braden Point, if he's healthy. Again, we don't know, but again, this yes, Braden Point could score 2 goals in a game, but if you're looking at it from a Lightning's perspective, he shouldn't be a series definer, right? I mean, if you look at it as of now, Braden Point really has had a minimal impact in the Lightning's run to the Stanley Cup and where they are right now.
This year,
Obviously,
yeah.
there's no excuses if the Lightning lose this series. They could just simply say that the Avs outplayed them, or maybe if there's an injury such as Andre Vasilevsky. But look, as of
Don't
now,
you dare say
yeah,
that.
I'm sorry, I don't want to put it out there, but no, in all seriousness, Andre Vasilevsky steps it up in the playoffs. Like you said, the Lightning just want to make the playoffs in the regular season, and in the playoffs is when everyone takes another step. Now with the Avalanche, look, no knock to them. They're playing elite like they did in the regular season, but they're really playing the same level. But against the Lightning's top defense, I don't know. The Lightning may limit Colorado's offense. Really, the Lightning have limited almost every team's literally every team that they've played so far in the playoffs. So, Jeff, I think it's now time to get into our predictions. What are you calling it? AJ in our chat says Bolts in 6. What is your prediction?
I love it, AJ. I don't know that I can say it any better than that. I'll say this. I made a compoundingly stupid, I don't even know if that's a word, but stupid decision when we did the Panthers Lightning preview. One thing was I predicted the Panthers would win that series because Braden Point was out. I predicted that. And I also said I would take a pie to the face, which was delayed because I got the flu. But
Still
that's
gonna
coming.
happen. Don't worry.
That's coming. That's coming. I'll take it happily with a smile on my face, especially if the Lightning win the Stanley Cup again. I predicted the Lightning in 5 over the Rangers, which not that far off. Lightning in 6. Just because, shout out to AJ for saying the Lightning in 6. Just because he said that, and I want to be different, I'm going to say Lightning in 5. I am extremely confident in this team. Besides something catastrophic, and look, Colorado is a tremendous team. I think most people last year even had them going to face the Lightning in the Stanley Cup when the Lightning had to face a division rival in the Stanley Cup. That's always going to be weird that the Lightning had to play the Canadiens in the Stanley Cup. But Colorado's had, this has been their destiny, almost similar to the way the Lightning had been prior, where, it seemed like they were the best team in the league every year, but they never could quite. They lost in 7 games to Pittsburgh. They lost in 7 games to Washington. They got swept by Columbus. It seemed like they always just fell short, and then all of a sudden they didn't. Yeah. So, anyways, all of that rambling, all of this prophesizing, I'm going to say the Lightning in 5. I think they show. Frankly, I do think this is the Lightning's last stand in the Stanley Cup. I think Palat's a free agent. Nick Paul, who was such a great trade deadline acquisition, he is special. He is a special player. He's going to make so much money as a free agent. I don't see how the Lightning can retool to do it again after this year, even though they're still going to have their superstars, Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Vasilevsky, Hedman, all those role players that are so important. I don't see how they can retool unless they get bargain basement guys like, real quick, shout out to Corey Perry, by the way, going to his 3rd straight Stanley Cup with his 3rd different team. If we lose, you were talking about excuses. I'm going to blame Corey Perry for being cursed.
Okay.
But anyways,
that might be a valid
Lightning
excuse.
in 5.
that might be a valid excuse. All right, look, Lightning in 5 for Jeff. For me, I'm not giving a prediction. I'm a Panther fan. I can care less. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, from an FL team's perspective, I want a 7-game series, but I want the Lightning to come up on top. Now, look, just want to, add a few more thoughts out there before I wrap up. Obviously, whether Braden Point comes back or not, simply put, if Braden Point is in the Lightning lineup, it's definitely a boost. Also, the Avalanche could become a dynasty or be a team that starts a legacy if they win this series. We'll have to wait until next season to see if that happens, though. But this Colorado team is special. Like you said, the Lightning are still in dynasty mode, I think, even if they lose this series. But that could change next season, depending on who leaves, who stays, blah, blah, blah. But one thing is for sure, this is going to be a heck of a series. Lightning Avalanche under 24 hours until puck drop. Again, 2 top teams, 2 teams that deserve to be in the spot. It's the final 2 teams left in the NHL playoffs. It's the Stanley Cup. It's the Super Bowl. It's the NBA Finals. But it's named the Stanley Cup. Anyway, look, less than 24 hours until puck drop. Game 1 is always the most important game. But, hey, even if the Lightning drop game 1, they're going to win the next 4 games because Jeff has bolts in 5. Anyway, Jeff Macolino here alongside myself, Isaac Edelman. This was our Stanley Cup Finals preview for the Lightning and Avalanche series coming up in less than 24 hours. Thank you all for watching. Have a good rest of your night, and go Bolts!